Capricorn, what is your overall vibe for the month? And it's the Magician in reverse. I think Taurus had a similar thing. So if you have heavy earth in your chart, Capricorn and Taurus specifically, you might want to go back and look at that. I don't necessarily think it started in the same way. I think theirs was not about thinking about the past, but they had elements of that, especially for singles, which was like, hey, what are you manifesting? Maybe you're not manifesting anything. And if you're not manifesting anything, maybe you ought to be. And so I decided to include below a link to a worksheet that'll kind of help you figure out how to do that. And maybe also some of the missteps that kind of come along with manifesting what it is that we want. So I will make a note to self that maybe I should make a video on that. It's been a long time on my list. Hopefully I'll get to it sooner than later, but I guess we'll see. Okay. I don't like to guarantee anything I can't hold on to. But so yeah, the vibe is like, if we don't ask for things, if we don't know what we want, then how are we supposed to get them? So keeping that in mind as we move forward, will you find that pot of gold? What's up with your finances? And so the first thing that they say is like, if that's a focus, you can totally dominate in that regard. You have full control over what happens to your finances. So if things suck this month, it's not because something unexpected happened. It's because you didn't work hard enough, right? It's because you took a trip. But if you set things out, like you plan them, you're totally in control of what happens. And so this means this could be a very favorable month for you financially. Should you have a good plan in place? Should you know what you want? Should you know how much you want to work, how much you want to earn? Set those goals, because like I often say, oftentimes if they're not specific enough with the law of attraction, for example, we say, hey, I want more money. Next day we find a penny on the ground and we don't even appreciate it because we don't really consider that more money. But meanwhile, the universe is like, fuck yeah, hooked a sister up. You got more money. It's like, no, I want to earn this much more by the end of the month, or I want to have this much in my bank account is even better, because we don't necessarily want to work for the money we get. We just want to have it, right? Okay, so will you get lucky in love if you are single? Oh shit, there's a lot of stuff coming out here. Okay, so the first thing that they say is you might not be confident. It is hard to believe that you will be lucky in love this month. Now, part of the reason why is because you've got a lot going on, a lot to balance, the day-to-day life, especially if you're trying to work more to make more, as we mentioned previously. And it's not so much an emotional thing. Your emotions might be up and down slightly here and there, but it'll be more of a subconscious energy where it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit, if that is the case for you. However, for most of you, it's just a practical reality of things. Do I have time to be dating and things like that? Now, it's a little bit also of how do I even feel about that? How do I feel about online dating, for example? Is my life maybe awesome right now without a partner? And so it's hard to get excited about looking for love. And so, slow and steady kind of wins the race here. If you decide that this is something that you want, it is okay to take your time, to take it slow, or to put it off until later months, all right? Now, if you are coupled, what's up in March? And they're like, this is not the luckiest month, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad month for you. It's just like, hey, if you have couples goals, #couple goals, moving forward, that might be a little bit hard for you. This month, it's just not lucky. Like, things don't necessarily work out. So if you want to take it to the next level, you're hoping for that proposal. You're hoping that you'll move in together. It's just like the timing is a little bit off this month, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong in your relationship. It's just like not the best time for it. And so this is also not a month in which you should be, oh, mother. And so this is also not a month in which you should be talking it to death, pushing it forward, telling your partner like, hey, let's talk about this, let's plan about this, whatever, talking about next steps, because it's not going to really get you anywhere. Just luck isn't in your favor. Like, even if your partner was like, hey, yeah, let's do this, you wouldn't be able to find the right house, the right apartment to move into together, okay? So, if you are, whoa, So here's some exciting stuff. If you are in a complicated relationship, it's on again, off again, it's not Facebook official, but you're talking to each other or something like that, there is a lot of hope and sort of excitement for you this month. It's like you have figured out how to balance in this potential relationship or this complicated relationship the difference between how you're feeling and reality. And then there's a lot of like wishes and hopes and wants and dreams that you'll see here in that card, but they all culminate into something more bigger and beautiful than you maybe would have imagined for yourself or for this relationship at the end of the day. So the star card, I often call it the hope card. It's like, what do I hope for? And they're saying, hey, put your hopes out there, because what you're hoping will happen here is not only likely to happen for you, but something even better is likely to happen for you. A partner who, somebody will be like, okay, not a partner. The person that you're dealing with here is likely to give more to you in this relationship than maybe they would have previously, whether that is of time, energy, love, attention, affection, whatever. This is the month to sit back and receive. And anything that you give to this situation, you should be getting back 6 to 10 fold. So the more conversations you start, the more attention you're going to get back and things like that. So that's really, really good news for you. Anything else for those in a complicated situation here? They're saying now, for those of you who choose to look at the negative side of this, maybe, as we mentioned, there's a lot of hope here. If you are focusing on the fact that maybe, hey, this isn't official yet, or you're focused on your fears, well, it might not go as well for you as it will for the rest of you who are choosing to see the positives here, who are choosing to look at what's going right instead of what's going wrong. For those of you here who are not focusing on what's going right, they say, remember that this person and this experience doesn't necessarily have shit to do with history, with things, the way they might have gone with this person previously, or the way that things might have ended up with other people when you've been in a similar complicated situation. They're saying, don't take much from this as though it's, sort of your destiny or divine. It's supposed to be this way, because the only constant is change, right? As a society in general, we mess this up a lot. We have a lot of conflicting interests that we buy into or adopt as mindset. So for example, we will say history repeats itself, but then we also say the only constant is change. So it's like basically your choice when we go backwards, right? What is it you choose to believe? That history repeats itself when it's negative, or that the only constant is change? And so they're saying, whatever is going on here, it's going to be better for you if you spiritualize it, if you stay focused on the positive and what it is you desire and what you want, as opposed to, focusing here on what is going wrong. Like, it's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy, your attitude, because if you focus on what's going right here and what is good and the potential that it has, then you get that happily ever after, right? So awesome. So looking at where you need to push your luck to get ahead, what is it that you should be working to attract in your life? They're saying luck isn't in your favor this month. We kind of started with that actual energy or vibe. We're not necessarily going to get anything that we want this month just by sheer luck, right? This is a month of co-creation. What we do actually matters. What we work towards actually matters. Our mindset super fucking matters this month. So what is it that you should be trying to get? Something new and different, something that you haven't experienced in the past, because that's what's going to make you much happier. And so, as I mentioned, that worksheet below, that'll really help you, because there's an exercise in contrast. What I didn't like before and versus then what I would like in the future. I want you to work through those things and really focus, because doing the work is going to help you get what you want towards the end of the day. So if you know what you want already, awesome. Go ahead and throw that in the comment section below. Just tell me, I am getting what I want, and this is what it is. I want a brand new car. I want to make $10,000 in passive income this month. It doesn't matter what it is, because when you put it into writing, do you know what happens? It makes it real. It makes it tangible. It takes it from the thought space and it puts it out into the universe as an actual thing. And when we write things down, we're spelling out words. And when we're spelling, we call it that because we're casting a spell. Okay? So, what will be the sort of reign in your life this month? And they're like, for some of you, you just might not be reaching those money or job goals, or you might be feeling a little bit imbalanced, like you're working too hard, not getting enough rest. It's that sort of like, what is sustainable vibe. But how does the rainbow come in association to that? And they're like, don't get caught up in the details. When we get too detailed, when we get caught up there, then what is the phrase? Like, you lose the forest through the trees. You lose the forest through the trees? Something along those lines. If you know the answer to that, let me know, actually, in the comments, because I always screw that one up. And when I say that, I just confirmed I'm going to keep doing that to the universe, didn't I? But the point is I know, for example, me personally, I might go to make a business card, right? And I want something just so. And so I might spend, 2 hours trying to get the exact right angle for something, whereas it could have just been good enough because it's a detail only I would have noticed. And I could have spent those 2 hours doing something much more productive. And that's kind of the vibe here, is what they're saying. If you can not get too detailed, if you can focus on the big picture, awesome. Because if you don't, if you get hamstrung there, if you get caught up, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to achieve those big goals that you set for yourself. Okay? Because this month is about how you're spending your time and your resources. And time is your best, biggest, most precious resource, because it's the only one that's not replenishable. Okay, so now it's time to look at your power crystal of the month that can kind of help you get through this month and help you achieve at your highest levels, reach all of the goals that you want.